has been alluded to, this franchise kind of it is not done with me yet. So I'm with Alan Menken. We are writing the Night at the Museum musical.
Hooray! Yay, Broadway! I'm so excited.
Kind of a dream, and we're also making a Night at the Museum animated movie for Disney Plus. So, I realized when you guys reached out, it's going to be 15 years since the first one. That the life of these movies is still going and vibrant.
Yeah, the film got delayed to 2022, so yeah. Alright, just for the record, I love Night Museum. I have been a fan for a few years now, and when it was announced that the franchise was coming back in animation form by Disney Plus, I had mixed feelings about it. I was excited because I love the franchise, and I was excited to see the characters again, despite them going to be animated, and I was also excited to see what adventure they'll go on this time. But even though I was excited, I did have my concerns. I didn't like the idea of Nicky becoming a night guard, nor the idea of Kahmunrah coming back for the film's story. And then, 2 years later, Disney Plus shocked me and other fans alike with a supposed forquel that not everyone asked for called Kahmunrah Rises Again. Wow, what a great name to draw the original fans into Disney Plus. And I don't mean it in a kind way, by the way. Listen, it may be the highest rated Night Museum movie ever at this point, but it still didn't sit well with a lot of fans of the live action films. Not to mention, it's a bit of an insult to not just the previous film's establishment, but this supposed sequel is also a slight insult to the fans of the live action films who watched this film confused over everything that happened. Now, some of you might be thinking to yourselves, what are you talking about? We have the same characters, we have the same backgrounds, we have better fight scenes, and most importantly, it's nostalgic! Yes, but don't let all that nostalgia get to you. Nostalgia doesn't really fix nor cover up everything that's wrong with this supposed sequel. And no, the fact that this film is animated is not the major problem here. The real problems are the following. Messed up timeline, established characters from the live action films not looking, sounding, or acting the same as before. Lack of emotion, too much comedy, lazy story choices, and nostalgia baiting. But with all these problems, and the fact that this film is animated, is this film an actual sequel to the live action films? Well, NATM fans, you're in luck as I take a deep dive into Kara's many problems through this 3-part video series. But in today's episode, we're going to talk about all the original characters from the live action films and their new character designs. Then we'll talk about the film's animation, the beginning of the film, and most importantly, I'm going to talk about where does this film sit in the NATM timeline. Now, with all of that in mind, sit back, relax, grab a drink and a snack for this as I begin part 1 of Did Disney Destroy Night at the Museum? Or did they just destroy themselves? Okay, that wasn't funny. Let's begin. Night at the Museum, Kahmunrah Rises Again was directed by Matt Danner, known for his work on the 3 Capoeira series and the 2018 Muppet Babies series, written by Ray DeArentes and William Schiffner, who both worked together on Scooby-Doo Get a Clue, The Very Odd Parents, and The Adventures of Buck Wild. And yes, they both worked on Buck Wild. And with Sean Libby as producer. Now, for those that don't know him, Sean Libby was the director and producer of the first 3 NATM movies, and according to Ben Stiller, during the 2020 Night Museum reunion, Sean Libby is the custodian of the franchise, which makes sense because he's currently working on the Night Museum Broadway musical. And despite him being a part of the first 3 films, his involvement didn't really save this film, nor the involvement of the other 4 people who were also involved in the first 3 films. Now, before we begin the part 1 of the series, I do want to mention that I don't hate anybody who worked on this film, nor the film itself. I don't hate the movie, but but I don't love it. There are some things I do like about this film, which I will talk about through the series. But this film did turn me off for a lot of different reasons, particularly because of my love for the first 3 films. And I hope whoever worked on Kahmunrah or even the previous NATM movies that are hopefully watching this video understand where I'm coming from, because I do love this franchise and I'm just speaking out as a fan. So yeah, anyways, let's get on with the video. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the film's animation now. Now, before I begin talking about the animation style, I do want to highlight that I really do love the idea of making another Night Museum movie in animation form. And it's because, let's face it, there's never going to be a live action Forquel Night Museum movie, especially considering Robin Williams passed away before the 3rd film's release. Now, as much as I do respect if you dislike the idea of an animated Night Museum movie, I personally like the idea. I think it was a smart idea, not to mention it would have been a wonderful idea to continue the franchise without making another live-action project. However, it failed in execution, as well as transitions. So, yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the film's animation now. According to Sean Webby, he stated that he didn't want cutting-edge CGI like everybody's been doing these days, but wanted a animation style that doubled down on the comfort food factor. And yes, he's gonna use nostalgia for this film as bait. But anyways, I guess maybe he's referencing like a old school Saturday morning cartoon type style, which is just what it kind of feels like. I will admit the 2D animation style was a smart idea, considering it doesn't get used that much for films anymore. And some of the backgrounds were kind of cool and similar to the film's settings, like the inside the Museum of Natural History. However, this wide-eye shot of the inside of the iconic main hall of the museum, yeah, it kind of looks, it looks similar, but it kind of looks a little boring to me. I don't know, it's because they didn't have that many exhibits in the museum. I have no crap idea, but it kind of looks a little boring sometimes in the film. But other than that, I do really like the backgrounds in the Metropolis Museum as well as the subway. So I'll give the background designers some credit there. They did a good job. Let's talk about the character designs for this film. So yeah, 14 of the original characters who were transferred from the live action films, not Rexy and Easter Islandhead, they both look kind of the same. But anyways, 14 of the original characters definitely changed a lot in animation, like their looks. Along with that, the characters have outfit changes, particularly the exhibit characters, because they always wear the same outfit for every movie. Now, as much as I'm not a fan of some of the character designs, I will say I do love Sacagawea's new dress because it's more longer and more accurate to her Shoshone heritage than the dress from the live action films. So I'll give the film credit for that. But as much as I will give praise to the film for the outfit change, I kind of do wish they could have acknowledged it. Just saying, we can't just pretend that she wore this dress forever. Like, just saying. Like, I feel like, if they're going to make this big change, I think they have to at least acknowledge it. Like, say that it's still Sacagawea, but with a new dress on. Because, the Sacagawea that we know in Night Museum is a statue of the real Sacagawea. But yeah, despite that, I still really love Sacagawea's new dress and her boots. So that's one positive I will say about this film. So good job, Disney. But anyways, let's talk a little bit of the other characters now. So Nicky has curly hair and not straight hair like he did back in the 3rd film. But then again, truth be told, he did have curly hair when he was younger, but still, it does kind of raise what Nicky was in the 3rd film a little bit. Now, I know they're just trying to make Nicky look like Joshua Bassett, but just saying. Okay, let's talk about Teddy now. Teddy, he kind of looks the same in outfit, but kind of looks a little, how do I put it, goofy. Which makes sense for how he's going to act in this film, which we'll talk about in part 2. But yeah, next up, Attila, they ripped off his long sleeves. He looks more serious now. And muscular, I must admit. And, oh yeah, he looks like Kronk from the Emperor's New Groove? I guess that's what the animators were going for. Okay, Erica, they dyed her hair red when she was a blonde. Jedediah, he's a ginger now and doesn't have a beard like Owen Wilson. Or doesn't look like Owen Wilson. Octavius, okay, he doesn't look like Steve Coogan. But anyways. Okay, let's talk about Larry. He doesn't look like Ben Stiller, and he looks a little like Zachary Levi. Dr. McPhee, he has glasses now. Okay, nothing wrong with that, I guess. Wow, he looks like a generic animated caveman. Nothing like Ben Stiller. Kahmunrah, he doesn't look anything like the original. Dexter, they made him whiter brown instead of darker like Crystal the monkey. Miraculous, I hope I got his name right. Kahmunrah's dad. He never had a large headpiece. Maybe he did, I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, they don't look anything like they did in live action. They don't look anything like the actors from the live action films. Originally, they were going to look like how they did in the live action from Joey Manson's earlier character designs for this film. And honestly, I really like how Nicky looked very similar to Skylar Casoto, who played Nicky in the last film. But I do think I know why the characters don't look the same. Not only because Disney possibly didn't want to buy the original cast, but also because Disney doesn't want to pay likeness rights to the original actors just to make their cartoon counterparts look like them. So, yeah, I think that's why the characters look a little different. I think it's because of likeness rights, where they have to pay the original actors just to make the characters look like them. But, yeah, it makes kind of sense for why they don't look the same. Now, do I like the art style for this film? No, not really. When it comes to these characters, I don't really like the art style. They made Teddy a little goofy, and like I said before, and Nicky's head kind of looks like a banana shape. Well, at least to me it does. I don't hate the art style, but I don't love it. But all in all, the animation was fine. I don't love it or hate it, but it was okay. But I do love the backgrounds and the 2D animation. However, I'm not a fan of its art style for its characters. But anyways, everyone, let's get on to the beginning of the movie. The movie opens with a big shot of New York City and gets straight into the Museum of Natural History as we're reunited with Easter Island heads Sacagawea, Eto the Hun, and Joan of Arc. Okay, last time I checked, she was never in the Night Museum movies, so yeah. Anyways, but it's fun to have a new exhibit. Anyways, we get reunited with the other characters like Law, Dexter, Jedediah, Octavius, Theodore Roosevelt, and Rexy in the same way we were first introduced to the exhibits almost 16 years ago at the time of the film's release. After the introduction, we get introduced to Ronnie, a man from Ohio who just wants to be on Broadway, so he took the night shift so he can make some cash. He goes to sleep thinking that the job is going to be boring, and while that was happening, the tablet brings the exhibits to life, and then Ronnie wakes up to a sound, and then meets Teddy and Dexter. Awesome! But he wanted to call the police. But instead of Teddy explaining to him about the whole exhibits coming to life thing, like he did to Larry back in the first film, he has a lion scare Ronnie away.
I give this guy 3 minutes tops.
Gee, since when did Teddy become a jerk all of a sudden? Never mind. Anyway, then Ronnie meets Sacagawea, who also scares him away with an animal, and every exhibit did the same thing. Rexy attempts to eat him, and he runs the crap out of there.
2 minutes and 2 seconds. That's a new record, everyone.
Yeah, this is very out of character for all the exhibits in this movie, especially Teddy Sacagawea, who literally shown kindness to Larry when he first arrived. I mean, literally, they didn't do the same thing for Ronnie, and none of the exhibits didn't welcome him. They didn't explain the whole exhibits coming to life thing or anything. I mean, when you look at it, it kind of destroys what the exhibits were established in the first 3 movies. When you look back at The Secret of the Tomb and how the exhibits threatened and scared away a bunch of guests during the planetarium reopening. The tablet's corrosion problem was the cause for their behavior and actions. And when you see all the exhibits after the mayhem they caused, you can see the guilt on everyone's faces, showing how sorry they were for something they didn't have control over or even didn't know what came over them. But when you look at the exhibits in this film, they all scared Ronnie away on purpose, and their actions kind of antagonized them in the beginning of the film. Alright, let's face it. Their actions did antagonize them, and it kind of makes them immature. But maybe you don't care about Ronnie, but I do. And what the exhibits did in this movie at the beginning, this is total character assassination. Anyways, so Larry sees the runaway night guard, and he goes inside and doesn't really scold the exhibits properly.
Very funny, Teddy. But listen, you gotta stop scaring the new guys off, okay? I'm leaving for the summer, and I need someone to replace me.
First off, the exhibits scared away other night guards before Ronnie. This is absurd. The exhibits are monsters at the beginning of the movie. And also, why is Larry going to Tokyo? Well, apparently, he's going to Tokyo because he was hired to be a director for the museum, so that's why he's going. But also the fact that the writers thought it was a smart idea to absent Larry from this film. However, I just don't think Larry would do something like that, like leave the exhibits to go to Tokyo. I mean, that's a little out of character. Also, another last thing, why is he still a night guard? I mean, really, he became a teacher at the end of the third film. Never mind.
I need someone to replace me.
Sorry, Larry, but he wasn't a good fit for us.
What are you talking about? Sacagawea, the first time you met Ronnie, you scared him away with a bear. Not to mention, how do you know he's not a good fit if you didn't give him a chance? Because saying that he wasn't a good fit shouldn't be an excuse to scare him away like that if you didn't give him a chance. That's for one. Never mind, I'm getting a little carried away. But anyways, the exhibits are not really sorry for what they did to those night guards and tell Larry that he should hire his son Nicky because
he knows the secret of this place.
Why, he practically grew up here.
Okay, Dad, but also because they have trusting issues apparently, because if they didn't have trusting issues, they wouldn't have scared all those night guards away, now wouldn't they? Anyways, Larry tells them that he's not sure since Nicky is trying to find his footing and confidence. Anyways, Larry agrees to hire Nicky, and then we finally get introduced to the real star of our film, Nicky, who is running down a high school hallway, clumsily bumping into people while also riding his skateboard, until he hits a walker and meets his crush, Mia. Okay, time out. Why is Nicky still in high school? He should be in his 20s at this point. And also, why is he crushing on a different girl when he was in love with a girl named Andrea in the last film? Didn't the writers even watch the last film? Never mind, Nicky has a crush on Mia now, and he's afraid to tell her his feelings for her, which is interesting considering in the last film, he was so bold enough to have his last crush sign her phone number on his arm. Never mind. Anyways, Nicky goes to audition for jazz band and tells the teacher that he's a DJ and that he wants to show off his ideas for the band, incorporating jazz band with modern DJ, something like that. Nicky says a bunch of technical things that neither I or the teacher don't understand. But anyways, he shows out his DJing skills, and then the rocker team played by the little brother from Whip and Maddie show up. And, you know, he doesn't like the idea of a DJ and jazz band. But the teacher, Mrs. Matafusco, I think that's her name. I don't know. Anyways, she told Bodie that Nicky deserves a chance. Dang, I wish the exhibits would have gave Ronnie a chance. Anyways,
let's give him a chance, Bodie. It takes guts to try something with such a high chance of failure. To risk that kind of embarrassment, he must be extremely confident in his abilities.
Yeah, that made Nicky nervous, and he messed up on his DJ and making him give up very, very easily. Later on that evening, Larry accompanies Nicky to a sushi restaurant to tell Nicky the news.
Wait for it. Night guard at the museum. What?
Nicky doesn't know if he could do it, but his daddy convinced him, and all they have to do is convince Erica, Larry's ex-wife and Nicky's mom. Anyways, after a heart-to-heart with Erica, Erica agrees, and Larry gives Nicky his torch. The great posse of the torch. Yippee! The next day later, Nicky goes to the museum with his blue night guard uniform, which is supposed to be gray like in the previous films, but anyways, he bumps into Dr. McPhee, being bossy and also kind of mean to him, who doesn't believe that he has what it takes because he's a teenager. While that conversation was happening, the exhibits started to come to life, and Nicky has to hide it from Dr. McPhee. Wait a minute, okay, that's it. I had enough. Dr. McPhee witnessed the museum coming to life in the third film, and according to Tilly, Larry trusted him with the secret. So, what the crap is going on here? Okay, let's talk about another problem this supposed sequel has, and that is the timeline. As you can see, I made this timeline dating back to when Larry became a night guard, to him defeating Kahmunrah, and going to London and becoming a teacher 3 years later. I could put in the whole Kahmunrah expedition in the late 30s and the Tablet bringing the Museum of Natural History to life in 1952, but I didn't have time for that. Anyways, I know the most confusing problem some fans have with this film is the timeline. In this film, Larry is still a night guard when he became a teacher in the end of the third film. And Dr. McPhee apparently doesn't know about the tablet being magical. And Nicky is still in high school when he should be in his 20s right now. Just saying. And, oh yeah, I forgot. The tablet is back at the Museum of Natural History with that Kahmunrah who now resides in the British Museum with his parents. But then again, the events of the third film weren't mentioned in this film. It's like if the events of Secret of the Tomb never happened. But you guys are in luck. A person who worked on the film, he's a director apparently, not Matt Danner, but somebody else. His name is Jesse Lavelle. He states that the film sits between the second and the third films, which makes sense for why Larry is still a night guard, and for why Dr. McPhee didn't discover the magic of the tablet yet, and for why Nicky is still in high school, and for why the tablet is still at the Museum of Natural History, despite the fact that Ock is nowhere to be seen in this film. But if this film takes place before the third film, why is Wah here?
Everybody!
I'm not your father-in-law. We've covered this.
Does this film take place during the 3 years before the ending of the third film? No, it can't be. Because Larry went to college so he could get his degree, and Nicky would possibly go to college or Ibiza, maybe, and not stuck in high school. But then again, Larry did bring up that he already told Walt that he's not his father. I don't know if this person even watched the films properly, but the first time Larry and the others met Walt was in the third film when they were getting ready for the planetarium reopening. Also, Nicky and Walt didn't meet each other until the London trip. If this film is supposed to take place before the third film, why is Walt here? It ruins the continuity of the franchise. Oh, right. I know why he's here. Yep. I think I know why. You know why? Because he's stupid. But if the people behind this film really loved Walt so much, why didn't the people behind this film want this film to take place after the third film? Just say, why not? But then again, Nicky would probably be in his 20s, and Disney only likes it when their leading protagonist is in their teens. Anyways, I highly doubt that this film could take place before the third film because it just isn't possible. If Walt wasn't a part of this film, maybe they could get away with it, but even if Walt wasn't in this film at all, there are certain things that this film did that it can't squeeze into the timeline. For example, the dailies and the exhibits don't look the same like they did before, so that's one thing. Not to mention, they don't even act or behave the same like they did previously, so that's another bonus, as well as a few other things we're going to break down in the series. But anyways, most sequels take place after the last film, and this film didn't do that. It expects us to play and watch as if the events of the sequel to 2 never happened yet. Or never happened, I guess. Besides, well, it's somebody who worked on the film claims that this film takes place before the third film, when a character that was first introduced in that film is here.
You don't even know. They must be unbelievably stupid.
But yeah, guys, I know the timeline is both wrong, stupid, and even confusing, but don't worry, we'll determine if this film is an actual sequel throughout the course of the series, so don't worry. But anyways, let's get back to the plot. Anyways, after Mystery finally leaves, Nicky gets it reunited with the exhibits, blah blah blah.
We're thrilled that you will be carrying on the daily tradition. Not daily as in daytime, daily as in your last name. Obviously, you will be working at night. I'll stop talking now so you can speak.
Well, I hope you idiots, exhibits are happy. You got what you wanted at the end by just being cool-hearted monsters. Now if I'm thinking about it, this is not a good message to be sending to children. But anyways, everyone, that's about it for part 1 of Disney Destory Night Museum. Don't worry, I'll be back for part 2 as I'll discuss more problems, such as how much the characters have changed, personality-wise, as well as broken magic rules, and even the absence of Kahmunrah. But anyways, everyone, if you made it till the end of the video, thank you so much. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel to be the first to watch part 2 of my series. Alright, everyone, thanks so much for watching. See you guys soon. Bye.